Alright, that's enough of that. Good day, everybody. So, this live stream, first topic we are going to be talking about, how to stop a string bend without the string release. It is a nice guitar. I love this thing. Thank you. Monson's the brand. So, how do you stop a string after it's bent? So I'm going to kill this delay and whatnot. So, a YouTube viewer asked, how do you stop a bend while you're playing? It's actually somewhat simple. I use my right hand, or picking hand, after it gets up. You basically just take your hand, rotate it, and touch the string that you're bending. So let me change the angle of the camera here so you can get a better look. That's all it really is. You just gotta put your palm down like that. I'm also releasing some pressure on my left hand here when I come down. And that's all there is to it. So, in order to practice it, just take some bends that you're comfortable with and take that pick hand and cut it. So keep the your picking hand on the string as it comes down, because if you do this and then let go, you'll get a bunch of extra noise. Hopefully you can hear that sympathy noise coming through there. So make sure that you keep your muting hand on the string as you come down, or else it's going to sound like ass. So, that's this is going to be a short live stream unless I actually get some questions going on here. But last time I did the stream, Count Joseph Barnes mentioned that today was going to be his birthday, and I think he jokingly suggested, play Happy Birthday. Well, I'm going to be doing just that, and of course he told me he's actually not going to be available for the stream, but did a fingerstyle version of this. Hopefully I don't butcher it. Practice it beforehand here. But you gotta have the special guitar for the special song, right? And then I got a special version of this right after. So, see if you can tell the difference on version number 2, and see if you can still tell how it's the same song. So, here goes something. So, basically, thought to make something interesting, or to do something interesting with this. I originally was going to put Happy Birthday into a bunch of different modes. The second one I tried was going to be Lydian, and that was not working out so well. So, God, that looks terrible on there. Here it is. This is the first version that I did, the happy one, right? So now that it's up on screen, let's go over some theory stuff here. So that first chord there, I decided to label it an E suspended 2 and 4 with no 5, because, and I'm not looking at the YouTube a live screen right now if anyone's asking questions about what the hell I'm talking about during the theory stuff. But as soon as I'm done blathering on and clearing my throat, I'll go answer the question stuff. So leave them and I'll get to them. So yeah, E suspended 2/4 with no 5. So basically you have your E note there. You have the A note, so E being the root note. 1, 2, 3, 4 notes up in the scale gives you the 4th interval. And then we also have an F sharp, an octave higher here. So that's why I named it that way. And then, and this is basically all in the key of well, it is all in the key of A major. So we go into an E major triad, but it's kind of an inversion here. As B is in the root note, that's your that's the 5th interval right there. That's the root note, and that's your major 3rd. So messing around with inversions and voicings of chords is one way you can be unique and help yourself in being creative with your music and whatnot. Because I could have just strummed the whole chord right there when I went to that part. It fits. But I like the more subtle sound of just doing the whoops. That sounds better to me just going to that. And then this D major triad right here. Just a 1, 3, and 5 intervals right there. Even got to throw in a diminished chord there. So we have a G sharp diminished there. There's your 1, flat 3rd, flat 5. Diminished usually sounds very off to most people, but in this case, it seemed to fit with the whole vibe, the happy vibe. Somehow a diminished helped the song sound happy. And I think one of the reasons is because you have that tension that comes in, and then the release. And that's one of the big things about music, is you always have tension being built, and then you have the release to get rid of that tension. A lot of people call it, your call and response kind of thing. So, you have like a riff, and then your response. And then you have the call again, and then you have your response. Same thing with chords. It's kind of like you're answering the call of this with that. So you kind of build up some tension. You can do it with your lead stuff. And then go to more resolved feeling. Call and response. Anyway, back to the theory stuff to try and make this live stream interesting. Alright, so we just did the A, there's an A major inversion right here with an E in the bass. So this is another instance where I could have done this, but that seemed a bit too bright to me. I like that more subtle sound, putting this rendition together, or arrangement, the arrangement together. So there's your E note, which is the 5. There's the A note, which is the root note. So that's actually in the middle of the chord, this one. And there is your major 3rd. So that's basically the same inversion as that E chord from earlier, the E/B. I like to use these kind of chords a lot. They sound nice and pretty, even with a lot of distortion on. They sound right with distortion, like playing an A minor chord like this with distortion on sounds much more appropriate most of the time than strumming a big old minor chord like that, or even that. You can use distortion on that sort of thing, but usually you don't. Anyway, continuing on from that one, back to that E major, and then a D major down here. Now, this is another example. I could have gone but it kind of changes the melody to my ear a little bit. So that's why I wanted to do it this way instead. Because he has that kind of descending sound to it versus this. That has like an ascending sound to it. Even though, if you look at it this way, E major goes down to D major. The reason why it sounds like it's going higher is because that open E string goes up to the F sharp. So even though technically the D major chord is lower than the E major chord, if you look at it this way especially, because your ear, at least my ear, catches on to that, the highest notes in the chords. So that sounds more ascending in the melody to me versus the way I put it in for the arrangement of this. Moving on. Another inversion. And another diminished chord. We got two diminished chords and a happy sound. So this is basically from earlier, the G sharp diminished. Taking this, the flat 5, and moving it down an octave. Putting it down here. So same note, the D note, and there you go. So that's the major, or the happy way. Thank you, Mark. I'm looking at some questions there. And then I'm going to talk about the minor version coming up. I hope it does grow. Appreciate that. Life is a meditation within itself. Alright, so on to the minor. I gotta change this real quick. Hey, look, the live stream is showing up on the video capture software. There it goes. Okay. So we're gonna zoom in on it a little bit. Yoink. Alright, now the sad. The sad version instead. So this is really fun. I should look at the the other screen here. So right away, going into a minor chord, and this is all in the key of A minor. So the first one, the happy sounding one, in the key of A, and now this one's an A minor. So using the relative minor that the other one was in. So yeah, I couldn't, if I spent more time with it, I probably could have got something to sound Lydian like I originally wanted to, but I'm also going to do Mixolydian and Locrian and all the other modes that come from the major scale. And you know what? I said, this is taking way too damn long, so fuck it. I'm just going to do the minor one, and it worked out fine, I thought. So, here we go with the minor one. So it starts with the same notes. Starts with the E note, just like the happy one did. But then it immediately takes a dark turn, and it's not happy birthday anymore, it's sad birthday time. And technically, the chord kind of changes into that. So it's almost like it goes from the D minor to the D suspended seconds. And then we have another inversion. It's basically the same kind using the other one. So the other song, or the happy version, had the E major inverted triad there. This one is the same kind of inversion because you have the root, the fifth interval, then the root note, and then the flat 3. Told you I like using these. C. Anyway, continuing on. So the E minor / B, and then we have a major triad in here because sometimes it sounds more balanced musically when you offset the sad minor sounds with some of the happier sounds, kind of like another call and response type of thing, just like the other one where you have the diminished chord creating tension and then you go to the major chord for the release of that tension. Well, throwing in this F /C chord, or basically just an F major chord inversion. That breaks up some of the sad and makes the sad stuff stand out even more, actually. So anyway, from there, I just realized I didn't label that chord in the tab. Well, I do later on. I should probably fix that. That right there is an A minor chord. But what about this one? It's kind of smushed together on the text there on the screen. But it says F add sharp 4 no 5. What the hell is that? Well, basically, kind of taking this F major chord shape here, where you have your root note, 3rd, 5th interval. Nice, happy sound, right? And it's actually found within that shape right there. If you just take those 3 strings right there, the D, G, and the B string, that's what you got left. So that's a very simplified way of playing an F major chord. And it makes it a lot easier to play on an acoustic, especially. Anyway, so you have root, 3rd, 5th interval, and then you just take your index finger off, and it's changing it to a sharp 4 interval. The 5 goes down to a sharp 4. So you might ask, why is it not a flat 5? And it has to do with the key that you're in. So intervals all stem from the major scale. So even though we're in the key of A minor, which is the relative to the key of C major, I'm going to be using an F major scale to explain the theory behind this. So, if you play an F major scale, you have these notes: F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, and then back to F. If you number those, you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the key one right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Root note again. Now, the reason why it's a sharp 4 and not a flat 5, really because of the name here of the note. So we're playing this open B note here. We have F, A, B, F, A, B. 1, 2, 3, 4. Raise that up, and that is a B. It goes from a B flat up to a B. So it's the sharp 4, and that's the major characteristic in a Lydian mode, which is, that's a Lydian sound right there, that sharp 4. So that's why that is a sharp 4 and not a flat 5. Anyway, that's a brief explanation. Moving on. So why did I put that? I just love the sound of those things. I love the Lydian sound. It sounds like very otherworldly to me. Which also happens to be the start of if anyone recognizes that. Oop, haven't played in a while. Anyway, so Zelda fans should know what the hell that is. It's definitely, it takes a major sound, the happy sound. That doesn't sound happy to me. That sounds very odd, and I really like that sound. So anyway, went from that to this. So that creates some tension, and then you resolve to the minor here. So continuing on. So did you know if you play the top 3 strings of your guitar open, you played an E minor chord? Well, you do now. So there is your G, B, and your E. So this time it's a different inversion. So the ones I've been doing, it would have the root note in the middle. Now the root note is on the top. So this is playing the flat 3rd interval first, then the 5, then the root note. So flat 3, 5, 1. If I raise that up, then that would be a major chord right there, an inversion of an E major chord. So from there, and then those 3 strings open are an inversion of a G chord. this would be the one I usually use, where the root note's in the middle. There's your 5 root note and your 3rd. So from the E minor / G again, back to that F inversion. Hooray! So another example of how the inversions can create a whole other sound instead of just playing your basic chords that you probably already know. So look at the last 3 bars here. I could have done this. Whoops, I hit the wrong note. But it has a different sound if you do it this way. So again, the melody sounds a bit different, even though technically the chord is the same, because you're playing the chord in a different way. You have a different sound. And that concludes the birthday portion of this stream. And hey, this stream is going a lot faster than the one 2 weeks ago. I had a hard time fitting everything in. Why is that still up on the screen? There. Alright, time to field any questions. Hey, you did recognize that. Awesome. Apparently my mother guessed it. Neato. Well, I'll give it a minute or two here. If anyone's got any questions they'd like me to answer before I sign off on this live stream, now's the time to get them questions in. Alright, well, looks like no questions. You're welcome. Thank you for watching it. So the next one will be in, another 2 weeks. So I do a live stream on the 1st and 3rd Saturday of each month. And let's see. Let me see what the heck the next one's going to be about. I don't remember. I'm going to the website to take a look. Hey, how about you guys look at it too? Man, I swear to God, this damn thing. Changing it. Hey, there, that's what I wanted to have up. Woo! So yeah, website will tell you what's coming up here. All the stuff that says will be covered in the live stream is what I'm working on right now. All this other stuff are just ideas I was going to do, but, you know, scheduling and whatever. So, next one. Somebody asked me to arrange an Animals as Leader song for just the intro anyway, for a standard tune, 6-string guitar. I better start working on that one right away, because that's probably going to be a real big pain in the ass. And hopefully I can actually learn it and be able to play it in 2 weeks. So there you go, that's the next one. If anyone ever does have questions that they would like answered in a live stream lesson, tell me. And that's it. Done.